Hi everyone, a very warm welcome to one and all. This is me, Karanveer, and Ajay, representing Unboxed on the CX and personalization track. And today we are going to take you through the journey of e-commerce personalization from content to intent. I think it's an interesting topic for sure. Personalization is no more what it used to be like 10 years back, a decade back. I think the entire from delivering the right content to matching up to the user and the shopper's intent. There has been a lot of things that have happened in this journey of e-commerce personalization, and I think all e-commerce stores, irrespective of the vertical and irrespective of the size of their business, we all are in awe of what personalization brings to us in the coming few years and decades. And how do we connect this entire shopper intent, the consumer perspective, to the rightful products, and how do we ensure that we a product delivers that personalization experience to a shopper. Ajay and I will bring our insights and our perspectives to all of you today. So can we move to the next slide, please? Hey, yeah. So from content to intent, the journey of e-commerce personalization. Before we jump into the entire insight and all that catching up we need to do, now I will let's quickly go through our intros. This is currently I'm a product marketer. Been working with SaaS companies for more than 6 years now, and I've been working with Unboxed for more than 2 years. Very quickly, just to sum up, I think Unbox is an AI product discovery solution, and we are doing much more than just shaping up the shopping efficiencies. We are bringing that entire AI-powered tech stack to shoppers and e-commerce stores alike, powering 1,300 plus e-commerce sites across 40 plus countries. That's Unbox for you, and this is Karanveer for you. Ajay, over to you.
Thanks, Karan. My name is Ajay, and I have about 9+ years of experience in sales, marketing, and customer success. The last decade or so, I've been working with customers across multiple SaaS companies. For the last 18 months, I've been with Unbox. So I've seen the journey of customers starting from small to all the way to enterprise customers, and I understand, e-commerce turned out to be a passion for me that way. So I'm here to share whatever I've learned over the last 18 months and whatever I've researched and figured out by working with all these experts in the industry. And that's it about me. Over to you, Karan.
Sure. Thanks, Ajay, for that introduction. I am telling you, Ajay is going to bring you a lot of use cases and inside scoop with so many retailers we have been working on. So jumping on to, Ajay and I were discussing about this, that how should we bring this to you? And we thought, let's start with breaking the myths about personalization. Oh yes, definitely, why not? After all, you and I, each one of us, our experience of personalization is defined right now by the Amazon, Netflix, Spotify's of the world. And we think that, and this is what our general expectation has been, that each and every e-commerce website we go to where we want to buy a product, that's how the personalization should be treating us. Very unique. Hey, it's a match. Hey, it's a 98% match. By the way, it's a 96% match. And every time we want that experience to wow us. Unfortunately, that's not happening. And that's why we thought it's great to start with breaking the myths about e-commerce personalization. So let me tell you one thing. So we jotted like three biggest myths about it. So number one is, if somebody is telling you that just sending personalized emails is enough and that will be all that you can call for a personalization, somewhere somebody is fooling you in name of personalization. I think so. Number one myth I will map to when you are evaluating a personalization solution for your e-commerce store, or what exactly do you want to implement in a personalization. That's the first myth which you need to break for yourself. Second myth, according to me, is everybody says personalization is to make customers happy. Unfortunately, making customers happy is the end result of it. What exactly is it is understanding a shopper intent. That is something which personalization needs to do. So my second myth is, Ajay, please don't mind if I say that we don't want to make customers happy. We do want to. All I'm saying is that is the end result of this entire journey. That's not the key objective you're trying to attain with personalization. And third is, if somebody did mention that personalization is impossible and personalization is tough, but at the same time somebody is telling you that, or you have a conception that personalization will be a days of thing and it will be completed in 2 days of time, this is the third thing, which is time to market to personalization. So having said that, I think no, these are the top three myths which we have identified when it comes to personalization and e-commerce. Um, and I'm sure Ajay talks to a lot of e-commerce stores day in and day out. So Ajay, what according to you is the biggest myth about personalization? How will you connect to it?
Uh, so let's put it this way, right, Karan? I mean, 10 years back, or let's say a couple of years back, if you looked at personalization, it didn't even exist so much, right? When people came into the website, what mattered the most is, am I getting products that I'm searching for? They never tied it to uniqueness. They never tied it to, hey, I want this unique experience, which is only for me, right? But that has changed. Look at how millennials have evolved over the last couple of years. Look at how they're demanding that, hey, you need to understand what I want, right? That is where we are standing right now. As per
Okay.
stats, about 80% of the shoppers are only going to come back to your website if and only if you give them a personalized experience. And that's the kind of importance we are looking at. When I talk to e-commerce stores, be it enterprise, be it small, one thing that I've realized is the amount of effort, the amount of work they're putting in today to actually ensure that personalization is happening is immensely high, which was not the case 5 years back. So right now, if you ask me, personalization is very important for an e-commerce store, and it has to be part of your key strategy. No questions or no doubts about that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to throw you back another question. I know it is important, but how do you tackle it with a new strategy? How do you go about doing it? Karan, I'm going to let you talk about that.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think with that, Ajay also let us into that how the conversations have been evolving around personalization with his experience with different retailers across different verticals, and how things will be 5 years down the lane. I think that's what Ajay walked us through. Going to the next part of it, which Ajay asked me, right, that how important is to tackle this as a separate unit, right? Let me tell you, I love answering this question for everybody. That hey, how far and how deep you can go to implement personalization. Um, I myself have been talking to a lot of e-commerce stores. I talk to merchandisers. I talk to e-commerce teams. Marketers, people who are like actively category marketers, managers who are actively involved in implementing all of this. And I've always find myself very enlightened with this entire inputs which these people keep sharing with me, and I'm going to share that with you. Uh, does personalization needs an overarching theme or an approach to it? Obviously yes, definitely yes, there is no question asked about it now. And why is it so? I would like to highlight that also. We are living in that ecosystem where everything is, it's no more e-commerce and commerce, it's all about conversational commerce, right? Everybody wants to be talking to every time you land up on a website, you want that one to one attention. You need we all are looking for that attention. Obviously there is so much content, there is so much noise around there, we all want to have our pie of attention, why not? But for an e-commerce store, if you ask me how far and how deep you can go while implementing personalization, I think let me break down into this four simple steps. First is know your shopper. Millennial, Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, gender, choices, frequency of buying, demographics, all of this. This should come naturally to an e-commerce store. As in, there's no escaping this fact. Second is what are their expectations in terms of shopping experience. And let me tell you, many of us are in this illusion. We are living under this illusion that hey, by the way, each shopper wants a experience like this and experience like this, and we all map it to something which we do by daily buying, right? Like a grocery or a fashion or apparel. But let me tell you, if you go and start mapping a shopping behavior and a shopping expectation from a B2B to a mass merchant, you will realize that there is so much difference in how these shoppers expect the behavior to be. All right. So I think the second part is understanding the shopper expectations and how they want the shopping experience to be when they land on the website. And third part is, and I call this a big business driver, is how the industry is being moved around you. Like let's say if you're a fashion apparel, if you're in gifting ecosystem, or if you're in a pharma, or if you're a medical devices manufacturer, brand manufacturer, how is your industry being moved? How are these industries providing personalization? Are there specific touch points they're catering to? And also to have that edge, how is your competition leveraging this entire personalization piece to say? And I can tell you, not all of it, not many of them are doing so. It is just that getting the right thing plugged in, and it's a plug and play out. Like you plug in the right thing, you get the best results out. So Ajay, to answer your question that how important it needs to be tackled separately, I think it's very important to tackle it separately. How far and how deep we can go is that is exactly what I jotted down in those 4 pointers. We all need to look into those minute details, I think. So but with this, Ajay, I want to get back to you that no, so when you say when we are doing this personalization, right, how much of it is enough? While we have
Okay, that's a
understood,
good
then how much of that would be enough?
See, essentially, you have to break it down, right? I mean, you have to look at personalization in a very structured manner because what happens is most of the time, as you rightly said in the start of the conversation, Karan, somebody comes in, says, "Hey, I've sent out an email which has the name of the customer in it, and I've personalized something." No, that's not the case. Maybe the email content that's sent out is not what he's looking for. Similarly, every touch point that the customer has to be identified first. For example, how is he landing up on your website? Was the ad good enough? Let's say he comes into the website. How is the search performing for you? Let's take an example here. I'll make it easier for you. Let's say he's searching for a red budget shirt. Which essentially means that he's trying to look for a shirt which comes in a certain budget range, a price range. And if the e-commerce store lands up throwing up all the shirts around, which is expensive, there you go, you lost the customer, right? Because he's is not getting what he's looking for. That's one, relevance; two, personalization in a way. So you need to understand that everything that you do, these touch points, be it on the search results page, let's say he gets the budgeted red shirt, he buys it, he goes into the checkout page, he has a recommendation widget out there, and you're showing a red dress, you lost him again. Instead, if you actually land up showing him a pair of jeans or a pair of trousers, then that would make a lot more sense for him, because as far as he's concerned, that would go with the red shirt. And that,
Yep.
my friend, how it helps is it's going to help you increase the AOV. So you are having a win. And as far as the customers is concerned, his journey has been great. So that's a win-win situation we need to create in an e-commerce ecosystem right now. And for that, you need to work with the teams around you and ensure it happens. This is what I've learned over the past couple of months that I've worked across all these large enterprises. But I've also seen situations wherein somebody has not really explored personalization. So, Karan, from your experience, when you have a new prospect coming into you, being a marketer, being somebody who understands this product, right, what would you say are the pillars that need to start with when personalization is considered?
Oh yeah, I think that's a very valid point. That where do we pick up, right? That's what you mean to ask, right, Ajay? Uh,
Yeah.
so I think I'll go back to the basics of it, and in continuation of what I was talking previously, that how you go about setting up the audience and so on and so forth. Uh, but even before that, I think a personalization overall, it's not like a toggle, right? You turn on and then you turn off. It's a continuum of lot many activities which go hand in hand. But how do you, when you say that, what are the pillars of this personalization? So I would like to go back to this thing. You understanding of your audience is very important. What time do they buy? Do they buy in bulk? Do they buy? Is it in a more of an impulsive buying? Is it because of a promo code or a discount offer they come to you more often? Is it because of your aggressive email campaigns to them, because something they left in the cart and then you keep pricking them again and again? And you nudge them basically that, hey, why don't you buy this? You left this thing in the cart. And these are some nuances here and there. Or is it because or are they buying because of a lot of outdoor campaigns which you do, because it's a connected world after all. So connecting this entire in fact this entire connecting offline and online retail has become a thing in the past 1 year. It has been pushed up a little more because of the pandemic that moved all of us out of our comfort zones. So I think that's why, to me, if you ask me what are the pillars, the first thing is understanding of the audience is very important. Data collation, you really need to understand data signals. You really need to read into this data, and you need to identify your shopper affinity. That's important. Second is you have to have a semantic understanding of shopping behavior and shopping buying. Where what I really mean is you need to understand the user intent. What is the intent to purchase? And I think that's what our topic for today's conversation has been, moving from content to intent. We are not here to do like the e-commerce store is not going to say, hey, by the way, what are you looking for, and then just show a product in lieu of it. There is no Q&A happening at an e-commerce store. I'm just being honest, right? You
Yeah,
land up
that
on the
makes sense.
website. That would be funny, right? You go to a website and somebody is like, hey there, Ajay, what are you here for? What do you want to buy today? That will be, maybe that happens tomorrow. I'm not sure, but I'm saying that's not happening. That's where the game of personalization comes with its subtleties, right? I think understanding the intent is very important, and that does not happen overnight. It's that trickles down from the first part where I said understanding the segment audience, which means the e-commerce store owner really needs to know Ajay well before it starts personalizing the entire shopping experience for Ajay when he lands up on that particular website. Third part is segmenting the audience. So there can be X number of shoppers and there can be Y number of shoppers so Y, which may be connecting with Ajay, and it becomes one cohort, and X who might have a very similar behavior or similar shopping behavior trends and affinities like me, and then it will turn out to be like another cohort. So why I would bring this up is segmenting the audience is very important. You define cohorts. Now, you're not generalizing, but you just know them a little more better, and that also adds up in making your system more intelligent, because now for a particular cohort you're feeding more data to get useful insights out of that. And lastly, I think that is a time when you take a leap to build that one-to-one personalization report. So I think that's how you go on to implement a personalization for an e-commerce store and deliver that personalized experience for your shoppers on site, Ajay. That's what I'm telling you, I've not seen all of it. Let's be very frank here, I've not seen all of it. There have been interactions with customers. There have been we ourselves see in our product how things move on from there, how we map different entities to different shopper affinities, and how do we deliver such results. So over a period of time, I think this is what my understanding is, and the key will always remain understanding the audience and segmenting them, and then going on to build one-to-one personalization. So yeah. However, now I think Ajay and I are just trying to connect dots for all of you here. So uh, and Ajay, I think this has always been a thing, right? There is recommendations and things we were talking about and examples which you took, right? So there is a smart search engine or a site search, which we typically call it, product discovery solutions. We have recommendations. There are solutions which just fix category pages, right? So how do you think they tie back to the story of personalization? Are they standalone? Do they merge together to form
Uh,
a comprehensive personalization?
Definitely not.
Okay.
Definitely not, Karan. They're not standalones, right? So there was a time when it was all about merchandising. Just like you said, when you go to a store, it's about merchandise, and e-commerce also has merchandising. Then there came a time when people started talking about personalization. They said, okay, hey, I need things to look at or be, and it should make sense to me when I come into a site, because it should be things that I'm looking forward to. Now, how does a typical e-commerce store react to that? Now, as you rightly said, this is an ecosystem that they need to create, right? You have marketing automation tools, you have CRMs, you have different sets of data that you have, which will let you know what each user wants. Look at the site search for today, right? If you go and search for something, everything is getting tracked. You understand what the user wants. The behavior is something that you have with you. Now, what you need to do is you need to collate all this data, bring it into a single ecosystem, and then take it to your merchandising, and that's when it becomes personalized merchandising. So you take the data, you go to the merchandising, and then you start applying that on your merchandising. How do you do that? Let's take your example. Let's say somebody is searching for something from India, right? You know that when you look at a set of data that from India, when somebody's searching for groceries, for example, this is the set of things they are looking for first. Then you start creating category pages and ensuring that those set of products are boosted for anybody who comes from India. So that's a
Yeah.
sort of a large scale personalization you can do today, and that's also segmentation, right? You're segmenting by area, you're segmenting by time zone, whatever it is. Just create and understand what each user wants, what each set of users want, and then you start boosting or pinning or slotting or any of these merchandising techniques that you have today available in the merchandising console. Just go ahead and do that for that set of users, and that will ensure that you have these customers coming back to you again and again, because these are repeat buyers. They want the same set of things every month, probably, or let's say the pattern is pretty much the same. You will get more and more of those. So that's how you establish that ecosystem. But it's very important to get all the dots connected, be inside that circle. That's pretty much what I've learned from my experience working with this one, Karan. So I know we've come a long way. I know we're running short of time as well. So I'm going to just quickly one last question, because I know there'll be people out there in this, on this track, where people are trying to understand, hey, how do I start this? I know there are 4 different pillars. I know there are things that I need to look at. But if I'm to start it tomorrow, what is the first step I should take? Karan, you want to lead that conversation? Let them know what you think about it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think you asked my favorite question here, so let's go and talk about it. Guys, this is something which we very typically we kept it. Take away personalization, where to begin? So, but before I even answer that question, Ajay, I would like everybody to have a perspective about it. And how do we have how we talk about personalization, and most of the things have been in very much in concept and theory, and there's a lot been what do you call it, it's been like, yeah, personalization as a concept exists, but do you know personalization as an implementation exists, how successful it has been, how do you really want it at first place, is it okay to have, is it not okay to have? So let me tell you this thing. We were reading through the reports, Retail Touchpoint, Retail Gazette, Accenture, and many companies across the world do publish reports around personalization because it has been a thing, in thing, right? And this is what we've discovered: 77% more word of mouth marketing happens for all those e-commerce store owners who actually personalize the shopping experience. Now, while you say, okay, then what? But let me tell you, as a marketer, I know how much pain it is to invest and pump so much money and still not being able to see results, if at all that happens, right? For your e-commerce, that's something which is a hole in the pocket. But if you know that if you do something right on your landing experience, on your website experience, if you work that and you fine tune that, there is going to be 77% more word of mouth marketing. So it's a double edged sword kind of a thing. Also, with the personalization comes 44% more orders, repeat orders. Now, that's something which is big, huh? By the way, it is very tough to bring a customer back to your website, to your e-commerce store. But if you have done personalization right and well on time, you will have 44% more repeat orders. And net, this maths will lead you to be getting 20% higher online sales for your business. And I'm kidding you not. This is what makes personalization so important in these days. I'm telling you, while you scroll a page up and down on your LinkedIn profile, or you do the similar on a Facebook, there are 10 different brands trying to get your attention. The one which personalized best for you basically grabbed your attention and took away that pie of money from your pocket. That's why this has been so important. So now coming back to Ajay's question, that where do we begin? Where what if at all somebody has to do what exactly? I think the first and foremost thing which all of you really need to do, and I won't get into the technical details here, you really need to be fixing your on-site shopping experience, and that can be across shopping journeys. By the way, I think Ajay gave some 10 different examples in the last 15 minutes of merchandising, of product recommendations, of it can be a simple thing as typing in your search bar, right? Many of us do that. Hey, blue jeans and black shorts and flip flops before a vacation. And yeah, we didn't have a vacation for a long time, that's a different story. But yeah, like I'm saying, so we keep using all of this, right, on an e-commerce store. You go to a grocery store and then you're like, hey, bread, but you also know that you want to buy butter and jam also with it. So very typical nuances, but very basic nuances, right? So all I would want to say, Ajay, to all these e-commerce stores, if you want to pick something, and if you really want to pick this battle of content to intent, and you want to build that personalization story for your shoppers, you want to give that experience, the first and foremost is look inside. Take deep breath, get into this, and fix your on-site shopping experience for your shoppers. So
Yeah.
I think that's what it would be for me. Uh,
Karan, you know what? I think we're running out of time, and I can see there are 2 questions. So I think we should try to answer them. Just before we go off. So
oh
yeah,
yeah,
just
definitely.
to you know I see 2 questions here. How do you personalize when you don't know the customer? Yes, very good question. So if you don't know the customer yet, to be honest, it's definitely difficult because you haven't seen his shopping pattern. You do not know what he has done before in your site. He's a first time visitor to the site. Now, what is the whole idea of personalization? When he first comes into your site, understand what he wants. But there are definitely certain things you could do. For example, let's say he's coming from India, as I said earlier. You know for a fact he is coming from India. You know you have other set of users who came from India and established a certain particular buying pattern in your site. You could kind of boost those products for him so that he feels a little more comfortable when he comes into your site. Now that will throw him into some sort of a comfort zone to start interacting with the site first. Let's say he comes into your site, put some recommendation bar out there which says bestsellers, which is actually the bestsellers in that particular region. There are small tweaks that you can do like this, which will actually make him feel at home first, and then take him through the entire journey of personalization. I think that's the
Definitely,
right
Ajay.
approach.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, and of course, to there's one more question: does it rely on
Ajay,
technology?
yeah,
Absolutely, it
yeah.
does.
And
Karan,
I
you want to
wanted
take
to
that?
add. No, no, I wanted to add one more to your bucket. I really wanted you to, because you talk to customers so much. I really want you to share your experience of, like, this has been a question. Is personalization a milestone or a journey? And many people tend to
No,
ask this. I really want you to
no.
help e-commerce store owners and retail outlets there, online retailers.
Yeah,
How would
yeah.
you answer that?
I've come across customers, or I've seen customers tell me, okay, you know what, Ajay, I want to go ahead and implement it. How long it's going to, to work, right? The answer to that is it's an ever going process. You need to work continuously towards that. It doesn't happen in a day or two or three or four. It needs to go through your entire e-commerce journey. What is the primary thing? As I said, understand your touch points. So each touch point that you have to identify it. Look at metrics. All the solutions, all the vendors that you're working with are giving you back data. Look at that data point. Understand what your users want from your site, and then go ahead and start looking at what can you do for them. Now, is this a one-day process? As I said, no, Karan, it is not. It is something you need to do on an ongoing basis. And is technology involved in this? Absolutely, yes. Because unless and until technology has a role to play here, like by identifying patterns and then showing the right
Yep.
search results, or identifying, let's say, these are the products that's being sold or bought by this guy. So let me show him something related to it. This is AI based stuff. This is machine learning coming into picture, wherein you are understanding a buyer's past buying experience and then showing him products related to his past buying experience. So to answer that question, yes, technology has a major play in it, but is technology the only factor? No. You should always go in, you should always understand the metrics, and you should always work towards it to ensure that personalization is working in your side. I think it's an ongoing process.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Please do not get scared when he says it's an ongoing process. I think yes. To add to Ajay's point, I think you just need to pick the right battle and and then start with the right points. And after all, yeah, I totally agree with him. It's an ongoing process. You probably just need to be more cautious with the initial steps. Coming to the so let's say we are coming to the closing of the session, and we really wanted to bring two very distinct perspectives. Ajay comes from an experience talking to a lot of many customers, and I, being a product marketer, am deeply involved with how product caters this. So, which side of the story connects to each other? How do we connect these dots? So, I will. I think let me go first. So, I think just in favor of time, I think from a product perspective, I think it's very important to not seem too intrusive, and then certainly provide that one-to-one connect with the shopper and personalize the shopping experience across various touch points, from the time you experience the store or a website till the time you are on the checkout and post purchase also. I think that's from the product side of it. Ajay, over to you to conclude the session. That how do
Yeah,
you connect the customer story?
I think it's straight. Identify your touch points. Just go ahead and understand your customers. Then go ahead and do personalization. And it's an ongoing process, I said. And yes, there are tools, there are platforms out there, search engines, recommendation engines, which can absolutely do it. We are one among them. So we know that this is something that's totally possible. And trust me, personalization is going to be the future of e-commerce. It's going to get taken into a different level, into image personalization, all of that. So it's going to happen very soon. That's it from our side, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed the session. And thank you so much for being a part of this. And thanks for all the questions.
Thank you, everyone.